Let's talk about the Florida Panthers, man. How surprised were you that they took down the big boys in the playoffs, starting with the Bruins?
They did. Now, of course, we're looking at times when they got before times where they got rid of ties,
Sure.
So it's a little bit different. But yes, all things considered, the winningest team in the history of the league in 82 game season. And yeah, you can honestly say that the Bruins were the most dangerous team out there pretty much all season long. But did they face adversity in the end? Not really. Whereas in the Florida Panthers, they were out of the race and they fought their way in tooth and nail. And they were playing do or die playoff style hockey for the last 3 weeks of the season, just to slide in. And there's obviously a lot to be said for that. And a lot of the new additions that they have on that team and the style that they've been playing, they're playing very, very physically aggressive. And there's a really nice mix of just good high-end grit and skill in there. And they're potent. They're tough to mess with right now.
Well, I love how you said that. Like, they've been playing playoff hockey for, a couple months now, where the rest of the league has been playing playoff hockey for the last 3 weeks. They've been playing playoff hockey for 6 to 7 weeks. So that is such a great point. But Tim, they didn't only knock off the Bruins, who were facing some injuries internally. Like, let's be honest, the roster was pretty decimated.
Absolutely, yeah.
They also just fucking beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, dude. Now, it wasn't quite a sweep, but it may as well been. Shout out to their backup goalie who stepped up, and that happens every time. I called that shit. I knew he was going to help win them a game, and it was a tight game. So they're for real, man. The Florida Panthers, who were counted out all season as not being one of the big dogs in the East anymore, and the East was stacked this year. They just took out the Bruins. They just took out the Leafs.
They're coming.
Don't get me wrong. Carolina's a damn good team in the East. But you're telling me that a team that just took out the Bruins and Leafs can't beat Carolina? I'm sorry. They're going to beat the Hurricanes, man. They're going to beat the Hurricanes. I'm calling it now. As a Flames fan and a diehard Flames fan, did Matthew Tkachuk level up this season, or was he always like this in Calgary?
I would say this. Matthew Tkachuk, Calgary needed to make him their captain 2 or 3 seasons ago and lock him up. They failed to do so. And I would say that, yeah, you could say Tkachuk has a little bit more motivation going to a fresh city with a big contract. I think Tkachuk wanted the captaincy in Calgary for a number of seasons, and I think he wasn't really, really very happy there. But I do believe that yes, he always was that guy. He was gonna be that guy. He showed it last season. Unfortunately, they went out in 5 games against the Edmonton Oilers. But let's just face it, nobody's been playing like Draisaitl and McDavid for years. We haven't seen playoff scoring like how Draisaitl did last season.
Hey, actually, I'm going to correct you. Joe Pavelski coming off a concussion there, but the common denominator, they both didn't win those fucking games, man.
Isn't that wild?
Wild.
Could you imagine how those guys felt?
Well, especially Pavelski coming off a conky, man. His head was probably still a little bit rattled, and you would never have known with that hand-eye coordination with some of his goals there. Joe Pavelski is, and he's not Canadian. I still swoon over him anyways. He's an unbelievable player.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing how much further the Panthers going to go. I loved Sam Bennett in Calgary. I loved Tkachuk. I'm watching how Verhaeghe and Montour is playing, and the experience that they've got on the back end, and it's been really, really incredible to watch. And I do have to take it with a grain of salt. It is tough for me as a Flames fan right now to be watching Bennett and Tkachuk just going for it out east. But the reality is I know that that's the best place for those guys right now. Unfortunately, they obviously made the right move, and best of luck to them going on in the playoffs.